I'm Elizabeth Walker. I work with Habitat Chicago. How many of you have been involved with Habitat before? A couple. All right, so what are some of the things that you think of when you think of Habitat? Building houses. Jimmy Carter. Right? Those are both good and associated words. Oh, I need to go the right way. That's right. So Habitat for Humanity, there are two myths that are deeply associated and they're hard for us to shake with Habitat for Humanity. The first one is that Jimmy Carter is our founder. In fact, he is not. Our founders were Millard and Linda Fuller. It was founded in the 70s in Georgia. Since then, Habitat has grown to be a worldwide organization operating in 80 countries. In the United States, all the affiliates operate autonomously. Jimmy and Rosalind are our most famous volunteers. They've been staunch supporters for decades now, hosting the Jimmy and Rosalind Carter Work Build Project every single year, and they have come out to build as well in those times. Our prayers are with Jimmy right now, and we don't know what's happening next, but we are grateful for his support over the years. So the second myth that is very common with Habitat is that our homes are given away. Anybody think that? No one's going to admit it? Yeah. Our homes are not given away. We believe in partnership in our program. Our homes are purchased at a 0% interest mortgage for 30 years. We believe in partnership every step of the way. Families put in a lot of volunteer hours, they put in the down payment, and then they purchase their home and stay partners with us for 30 years. So if you take nothing else from this presentation today, help us dispel those two myths. So here in Chicago, we are the affiliate that serves all of Cook County except for just the southern part. So we have a really big service area. Universally, our vision at Habitat for Humanity is a world in which everyone has a decent place to live. And we do this by bringing people together to build homes, community, and hope. In Chicago, there are 259,000 people in need of better housing. In the Chicagoland area, that's 400,000 people. These numbers are massive. They're comparable to the devastation after Hurricanes Katrina and Rita. We think this is unacceptable, and we're working right now on multiple solutions to put a dent in those numbers. So when we look at numbers like that, we know that families are suffering on multiple levels. They're suffering in educational outcomes, they're suffering in economical outcomes, and then we're also suffering because our neighborhoods are not thriving when people are living in substandard living conditions. You guys are all financial professionals. You know what it is to invest in a community and the effects that that can have. Our core program at Habitat is our Homebuyer program. It's what everyone thinks of when they think of Habitat, and it is our deep belief that people will have generational advancement with steady, decent housing that they can count on year after year. So we build homes with volunteers and the families, and we build them over 12 to 18 months. That's not true. We build our homes over 6 months, but our families are in our programs over 12 to 18 months. And then our families purchase those homes with that 0% interest mortgage. So at the very beginning, they have to qualify for our home. Qualification looks like having a need for affordable home ownership. Need comes in different sizes and shapes in Chicago. It could be that their rent burden is too high. Anyone familiar with the rent rates here in Chicago? They're really high. And it could mean overcrowding. It could mean substandard conditions, unsafe conditions. It could be unsafe neighborhoods. Any of those combinations, any of them alone, would qualify somebody based on need. The second is that our families must have an ability to pay. Like I mentioned, our homes are not a giveaway program, it's a hand up. So most of our families coming in earn between 40 and 80% of area median income. That makes them eligible at the end of this run to have a mortgage that's below 30% of their debt burden. The final qualification is a willingness to partner. It's our favorite one. It's the one we often think of when we think of Habitat. And that's our partner families putting in sweat equity. It's volunteer hours. They put in over 250 hours throughout the course of the partnership in the program before they purchase their home. And they do that in our office, on the build site, building their neighbors' homes as well as their homes. They do it at the Restore, which is our resale home improvement store. And they also undergo a whole series of education courses. We know that transitioning from renting to homeownership is a big step, especially when it's not a part of how you grew up. And so we have about 12 classes on education, ranging from communicating and conflict resolution to financial management and credit and debt awareness, to how to maintain a home, so you know how to relight that pilot light when it goes out, to estate planning and drafting a will. So we really want our families to be completely prepared by the time they're entering into their homes. Even though we're still with them for that 30-year partnership, we want them as prepared as possible to be successful homeowners. So once they're in our program, partnership is all of those things, doing sweat equity and doing the classes. We also have our families enter as a part of a cohort system. So they're not only supported from our staff, but they're also supported amongst their peers. And they are going through similar stages of the program at the same time. Finally, a family purchases their home. We have a home dedication ceremony. After that, they go to closing. It's a 30-year mortgage. We have a second and third mortgage that are forgivable over time to encourage a family to stay in the home. Here are some of the statistics of why homeownership is important. It has tremendous effects on children. We have 116%, children of homeowners are 116% more likely to graduate from college, and then all these other ones that you can read. I also point out that putting a family in a home saves $34,000 in public expenditures. We love our homeowner program, and we will continue doing it. It helps families. We've seen it generation after generation. But we also know that a decent place to live, which is our vision, is so much more than just a house. Here in Chicago, we know neighborhoods are particular drivers of a family's well-being. And we know that to put a family in a house, we also have to put them in a successful or thriving neighborhood. So about 3 years ago, when we were undergoing a leadership change and restructuring our organization, we decided to look at our service in a way that would be more comprehensive than just a house here and a house there. And we pivoted to something called neighborhood engagement. And this is a concept that we can't do this alone, that Habitat, which is our blue circle there, must work in concert with many other organizations and leaders and residents to create a neighborhood and a community in which families can thrive. This sometimes means that we're the leader at the table, helping people think about what housing solutions would best benefit a particular neighborhood in Chicago. But it also means that sometimes we are the support and bringing our services where it would best fit. Right now, we're focused in West Pullman. It is a neighborhood on the far south side, and we're using this as something of a pilot neighborhood to look at how we can be successful with this neighborhood engagement concept and then take it to multiple other neighborhoods in the city. So we're in West Pullman, and we know it has challenges. There's no doubt about it. It has challenges. It has a high poverty rate, and it has a high unemployment rate. But there's also a lot of really great things going on in West Pullman that people don't always know about, especially if you've never visited. One of the biggest assets there is it has this incredibly strong legacy of homeownership. Over 60% of residents there are already homeowners, so the tradition is strong. There's also some great new developments. You guys have probably heard of the new developments happening in Pullman, right next door, the Method Soap Factory and the Pullman designation, the National Landmark designation. But there's also some really good things happening in West Pullman, and they're close in proximity that it's all really encouraging. Right here, there's the Salvation Army Croc Center. It's a multi-million-dollar facility that was put in. It's a gym of the South Side. Families come from all over to swim and play sports and go to classes. There's the Exelon Solar Field. There's lots of churches. There's a trail that runs through it. Transportation is close by. So there's a lot of really good assets to work off of to build up a stronger neighborhood to make a better place for our families to live in. So in West Pullman, as we do this pilot phase of a multi-year investment in this neighborhood, we are approaching it on 4 pillars. The first and the most important is our community planning. We do not ever want to be the organization coming in and saying, you should, right? We want to be an organization saying, how can we support? And so over the past couple of years, we've been working with a number of organizations in West Pullman and around West Pullman, as well as a number of residents to help define what the resident priorities are to increase quality of life. We do a lot of surveying, a lot of block condition surveying, as well as qualitative door-to-door surveying. And then we also know that this is a really long-term effort, that it doesn't happen overnight, community development. So stemming from the community planning comes the housing products that we can offer to West Pullman. The first is our new home construction. This is a picture of it up in the right-hand corner here. We're building out 16 homes on a previously vacant block, so we're putting all of those properties back on the tax rolls. They're 1- and 2-story homes. They're all energy efficient. They have garages to mitigate the cost of deteriorating cars. And we are working on it. It takes about 6 to 8 months to build a home, so over multiple years we will finish it. And while we're doing that, we're also doing other home service products in the neighborhood. So the first is weatherization. West Pullman, plenty of homeowners, also aging housing stock. So there is just a huge need for both weatherization projects and exterior repairs to help people maintain their affordability. The weatherization program is an ongoing program that we do as applicants come up. The exterior repair program is one that we do as an event-based model that brings a lot of the homeowners and the community residents and our volunteers together, and we do a big event and beautify an entire block in one to help tie it back to the community planning where people are more invested in their neighborhoods. So the West Pullman project is going really well, and we'll be there for a number of other years, but we're also looking at what other neighborhoods can we expand into to work with others to help make stronger. When we think about neighborhood evaluation, this is the process that we're now going through. We do both data analytics as well as community outreach to determine where a good fit will be. We look at some of the characteristics of past neighborhoods that have made Habitat homeowners successful. Those are things like the proximity of schools, the proximity of shopping, the rate of crime, and obviously real estate costs. We look at those and do data mapping across the city, and then we narrow down and then start community outreach to figure out really what is already going on in the community that could be supported and how willing are they to have Habitat come in. So we're in the process right now of doing that, and we're hoping to have our next neighborhood identified in the next 4 months or so. It's a really exciting place for us to be. So Habitat works when every day people decide to get involved. People decide that 259,000 people in need of decent housing is unacceptable. It works when people decide that they're not the complete solution, but they can absolutely be a part of it. And we have a mission at Habitat where you can contribute in a way that suits you best. It can be on the build site, swinging the hammer. We absolutely love our volunteers. It can also be behind the scenes, helping us think through things like site selection or helping us reach out to people who are also willing to support the mission. So I guess I would ask you to take maybe 3 things away. So the 2 myths, but then also some ways that you could get involved here. On the build site, we're always looking for home sponsorships, full or partial. We also do a number of team builds if your company might be interested in coming out and having a team building day. That's something that we do. It fills up really fast in the summer, but we do build year-around, Thursday through Saturday, even in the winter. Another one is if you happen to be an expert or a semi-expert or an aspiring expert at construction, we will take you as a crew leader to help lead other volunteers. And the final one is the construction volunteer, that person out there with the hard hat and the drill or the hammer, the photos you've seen. You don't need any skills, you just need a good attitude. You can sign up on our website at habitatchicago.org, and we need volunteers year-round to make this mission happen. And then there's the operations side. So we have all of these committees. I think we have, I don't know how many we have right now, 11 operating committees and then some project teams. There is really a place for everyone at Habitat. And the thing with our restructuring and our leadership change about 3 years ago is that we know we don't have all the solutions, but we're working really hard to figure out really how best to serve Chicago and to meet that need of 259,000 people. We can't do that without smart people helping us. And so we ask volunteers to come and sit on a committee for a year, at least, and lend their expertise to specialized projects. Construction would look at things like the price of materials as well as the efficiency of the home design. Something like neighborhood engagement would look at what sort of projects have been identified by residents in the neighborhood and how we can best support them. And something like loan servicing looks at our portfolio of existing homeowners and make sure that their mortgages remain healthy, help shepherd them along if we're seeing any signs of distress, and obviously celebrate the ones that are doing really well. So we have all these things. If any of them appeal to you, do consider getting involved. We have a lot of work to do here in Chicago, and it's very important work, and we would appreciate all the help that we can get. I really want to thank you for listening to me today. Do you guys have any questions? Yeah. How do we acquire our properties? In West Pullman, we acquired it through the city of Chicago. It's a redevelopment agreement that takes down 4 lots at a time. Other projects that we have finished up over the last couple of years have been donated through private sources. By and large, we do not pay for our properties because there is just an abundance of vacant property in Chicago. Yeah. We are. Mm-hmm.
So any properties that you acquire become tax-exempt?
Yes. Yes.
So the properties are donated, and the work is donated, what do people pay for?
Right, the materials and the cost of our operations. We have paid leadership on site to make sure that all of those volunteers out there know what they're doing. And then the materials of building. So pouring a foundation, excavating and pouring a foundation.
What's the average cost of a house that you buy?
An average house of the cost, an average cost house. Right now they're about $180,000. Any other thoughts?
Could you tell them a little bit more about the Restore as well?
Sure.
And where you get some of the products for that?
Yeah.
How it plays a role with possibly the cost of some of these houses as well?
Yeah. The question was about our Restore. Has anybody been to a Restore before? All right, brand new. I can't blame you. We haven't really had any in Chicago. We just opened up a brand new Restore at Peterson and Pulaski on the north side. It's 30,000 square feet. We're really thrilled about it. The Restore is a resale home improvement store. It's similar to the Goodwill model, but for home improvement materials. Things that you can find there, so you can purchase or you can donate. Furniture, cabinets, appliances. We have new appliances actually through a partnership. If there's a trade show passing through town, next week the Home Garden Show is passing through Navy Pier. We're going to get all the excess donations from that. The month after that, True Value and Ace Hardware are coming through, so we'll get all the excess donations from that. Building materials, tile, flooring, lots of toilets. So anything that you could think of that you could do for home improvement will be available at our Restore. Donations are from the public. They're tax deductible donations, and then we resell all of our products to the public. the profits from Restore help fund our mission here in Chicago. So right now, because we're opening up a store, we are working towards getting level towards that investment. But just as soon as that becomes level, all of that excess profits will come back to our mission and help us run our operations as well as build our homes. That's an important revenue source for us, and we're really looking forward to getting that Restore growing and hopefully opening a few more in Chicago. Another earned revenue source that people aren't always aware of is the mortgage payments that come back into our organization. Our homes are affordable, and so they're at reasonable prices, and so they're not coming back in at the same price that we are spending on our homes. But with a few homeowners paying into that fund for humanity, as we call it, those revenues can then go back into the payments of future projects. After those two sources, our primary source of revenue is fundraising. We have grants, we have corporate donations, and we have individual contributions. We also have special events. We have a big women build every year. Any women out there want to get involved? And then other fundraising options. All right.
Does anyone have any more questions for Elizabeth?
Thanks so much for having me. I hope you guys stay involved.